You ready? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that you don't know anything about Word, even though I know I have in the room experienced Word users, okay? But I'm going to pretend you know nothing. So the first thing I'm going to do is introduce you to the screen in Word. Now let me tell you something. This first probably hour of lecture, I have a handout for you. So don't worry about taking notes, because a lot of things that I'm telling you here in the beginning, I consider the baby steps of Word. You need to know this, and you almost need to know this for every program in Microsoft. So a lot of things I'm showing you today in this first hour, I have a printout. So you don't have to worry about, oh, let me write that down, I'll forget. So are we ready? Title bar at the top of the screen. At the top of the screen in every software program, you will see the title of your document, which is document 1, and the name of the software that you are using. And over to the right on that title bar, the first thing you're going to see is a question mark. And the question mark is your help, okay? So if you have a question about anything you don't know in Word, you just click on help, type it in, and it'll give you the steps on what to do. So that's your help button. Now the other button beside it, which is dangerous because sometimes people accidentally do this, if you click on that button, see what it says? Someone will accidentally hide the ribbon. And if you click on that button and hide the ribbon, your ribbon disappears from the screen. So that's, people don't know that button is there, and that's what it's going to do. Of course, probably all of you know that this is minimize, right? The hyphen is minimize, which will minimize. If I click the minimize, it minimizes it to the taskbar. And this will restore it back, and of course that is close. Now to the left of the title bar, this is your quick access toolbar. Quick access toolbar, meaning there are many shortcut commands here. For example, the one you see first is what? Save. And then undo. Undo is your best friend, okay? Your best friend. So when you do something in Word that you didn't mean to, just click undo. Now what we want to do is drop down this button right here. Drop down that button right beside the quick access toolbar, because this is a list of quick commands that you can add to the quick access toolbar. We didn't have this in 2010. So you can quickly add a command. The one we're going to add is called New. So click on New, and the New button adds to the Quick Access Toolbar, because in Word, you're always having to bring up a new document screen to work with, a blank sheet of paper. So that's your Quick Access Toolbar. And you can add, as in your own office, it's up to you as a user what all you want to add. You could add print to there if you wanted the print command, quick access to it. So anything else you could add in your office. The only one we're adding right now is New. Now, the File button. Everyone see the File button? Click it. This takes you to the back. This is now called the backstage of Word. Okay? So when you click that, you're in the backstage of Word, meaning there are more commands right there, and the one command we're going to use later will be print. We'll go into print preview. But to get back to Word, you just hit the back arrow. See the back arrow? So that takes you back to Word. So the File command takes you to the backstage view of Word, and we'll go there in a few minutes when we have a document on the screen. You can understand more about it. But that's what it'll do. But to get back, you just hit that arrow. Now these are your ribbons. Notice that you have, well, how many ribbons up there? Home, Insert, Design, Page Layout. See your ribbons? And every ribbon has a set of tabs on it. So right now, by default, you are on the Home ribbon. So the Home ribbon is where most of the commands are located that you use a lot. So we know that in here, anyone that creates document, you're always doing bold. And you notice that that's in what we call the font. See the font area? That's a tab. Those are tabs on the ribbon. So you have the clipboard tab, the font tab, the paragraph tab. Do you see those? Those are tabs on the ribbon. Now notice in the corner of these tabs, these are called launchers. Look at your font tab and look at that little arrow. See the arrow? That's a launcher. So if I click it, and it launches the font tab. Understand? So that's a launcher that you will see in all the tabs located on the ribbon. Now just cancel out that dialog box, but I want you to understand what a launcher is. Now let's change it to Insert. Let's look at the Insert ribbon. The Insert ribbon, again, is another group of tabs located on it, okay? And then Design, another group. Page Layout. Now, page layout is where you will find the margins. That's where the margins are located if we wanted to change margins or change orientation. So everything has to deal with the ribbon. References would be when we work with tape, the MLA research paper. Mailings, when we want to do mail merge and envelopes. Review, that's where spell check is located. And then view. Now, we have to stop at view because there's something we need to turn on. So for some reason, by default, they don't turn the rulers on in Word. We have to turn the rulers on. And you really do need the horizontal ruler. And anyone that uses Word understands what that means. So under view, you have to click on ruler. My mouse keeps going to my other screen here. Does everyone see ruler? Under view, click on ruler and see how that horizontal ruler pops up at the top of your page. And to the left of your screen is the vertical ruler. So you have a horizontal, you have a vertical. Now the biggest mistake my students make is they think that they can change the margins on the ruler. So they start dragging things on the ruler. But when you do, you're dragging indents. So for example, point at that very first triangle there on the left. If you point at that little triangle right there, what does it say? First line indent. Well, the little bottom triangle says what? Hanging indent, and the very bottom one says left. You've got 3 symbols right there. And when students start dragging that thing, they think they're changing their margins, they mess up their whole document. That's when they bring it to me and go, fix it, Ms. Jones, what's wrong? But people don't understand that that does not change margins. It's different commands, and we'll learn some of those commands later. At the very right side of the ruler, that little triangle says right indent. So you can see how those can get you in trouble on the ruler. Now, yes.
On the ruler, when you check it, the next time I open it back up, do I have to check it again? Or will it
Mine stays on.
Okay.
Yeah, once you turn the ruler on, you come back into Word, the ruler should still be there. Okay, Linda?
Margie,
Yes, sir.
if you hold your mouse and the hanging and then in the middle, can you move the margin manually? In the middle of the 2 labels that you have there. No?
No,
Okay.
no. And I'm going to help you change margins in a few minutes, so you'll know exactly how to change margins. Okay. Let's click back on home. Let's click back on home. All right. Now, another thing about the ribbon. Up here in the ribbon, like for example, between page layout and references, if you right-click, and you have your mouse up here on the ribbon, if you right-click, do you see where it says collapse the ribbon? And when you right-click, a menu pops up. Do you see this? Well, click on collapse the ribbon just so you can see what happens. See, the ribbon disappears. Now, I've had students, the ribbon disappears, they don't know what they did. They don't know how to bring it back. So that's why I show you this. If it happens to you in the office, all you have to do is right-click and say, okay, bring my ribbon back. Because they have accidentally collapsed it. You know, that's what happens when you're using a computer sometimes. You just click. You know, some people just click. And when you just click, everything goes wrong. All right, so we understand about the ribbon and collapsing that. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to open a document. So that way, if a document is on the screen, there's a lot more things I can show you because we have a document on the screen. Now, where we're going to go is we're going to go to Drive S on the computer. So if you just follow me through the steps, I'll take you to Drive S. We're going to go to a folder, and it's called Word 2013, and it'll have our documents in it, okay? So we're going to click on File, click on Open, and here's Computer. Just click on Computer. And in here, in this box, we're going to scroll down on the left because this is the faculty's instructional shared drive. This is where faculty keep their folders, right? All of you that have a faculty. So if you click on instructional shared drive, that is Drive S, and that's where a lot of folders are located. Diane, make sure he has it.
I don't have it. I don't have it either. Instructional share? Yeah, you do. Where? Go
Come
down.
down to computer, you'll have to click on
Oh,
computer,
okay.
and then you'll have it like share.
Oh, there it is.
You gotta click on computer, it's not showing up on there.
Did you find it?
Different way that she does, but
Yeah.
stay right there for a minute. You found it out there. So your, who you are as a user determines how many drives you have. And the instructional share drive is located under computers. The rest of you found the instructional share drive, and you found Word 2013, right? The rest of you, Diane? Linda? Word 2013.
Is that the file?
Training documents, right?
Okay, we're in Word 2013 training documents. And if you bring that folder up, it'll have the documents you want to work in.
Training documents.
Notice that folders are in alphabetic sequence, and I just put it in that, and these are the documents that we're going to be using today to help us learn what we're learning, okay? So the document that we want here is called robots. All right, let's just bring robots. Just click it twice, and robots will come to the screen. Now, when it comes to the screen, at the very top, does yours say enable editing? You want to do enable editing, because see, this is a drive that the document's protected, so that a student can't do anything to it or mess it up and store it back on the drive. Now, does your screen look like mine?
Yeah, except it wants to know if you want to open it read only.
Okay, just say,
yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
Can you turn that enable, document enable off?
In the classroom, I don't know if I can. In your office, you might be able to, Diane. In the classroom, I cannot.
I didn't know.
For my students, I cannot. Now, when it says a read-only, what we're going to do is we're going to save this. Probably you didn't bring a flash drive, right? But to save this document so that it's your document and you can mess it up and it won't matter, we're going to save it back to the desktop, okay? So we're going to do a file.
Do you want us to do enable editing on this?
Yes, ma'am, enable editing.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's okay.
Did
And
you
we're-
then want to do that read only thing?
Okay, what we're going to
Get that dialog
do-
box away?
Yes, tell that to go away. But we're going to do a file save as and save it to the desktop so it's your document. It won't matter what you do to it. So we're going to click on File, and we're going to click on Save As, because you know if you already have a document under a name, you can save it under a new name. And then click on Computer again. Okay, Computer. Click it twice. And over here on the left side of your screen, just click on the desktop. The desktop is your desktop in here, right? If you scroll up, you can see Desktop. And when you click on Desktop, of course, it's going to name it Robots, because that's its name, and then hit Save. And now it should not be a read-only. It's going to be a document you can work with. It's now yours.
It access denied.
Yours says access denied.
Likewise.
Did you click Desktop?
No, but you do.
It worked for the teacher.
Sure it does. Always.
It's okay, we're going to go to Desktop. Hit Save. And we're okay. There we go. We're good. All right. Now, the reason I like to show you a document on the screen is there are a lot of things I'm going to show you that we need to see what's on the screen. So we've learned about the top of your screen, about the ribbons. We've learned about the rulers. Now let's go to the bottom of your screen. This is called the status bar. See that blue? Status bar. This is status bar. So it will always tell you how many pages are in your document, okay, and what page you're on. Agreed? It'll also tell you how many words. Now, one of the most important things you need on the status bar is called the vertical position. So we're going to right-click on the status bar, and we're going to turn on vertical page position. Does everyone see that? Right-click, that menu pops up, and click on vertical page position. And then just click out, because you need to always know on the status bar, you need to know where you are vertically on your document. So wherever your cursor is on the document, it will tell you there on the status bar. Agree? It'll tell you on the status bar where you are. That's vertical position. Okay?
I clicked it already, it's still up on the screen. It's supposed to do something.
Just click out of the menu. Click anywhere on the screen. To get a menu to go away, just click on your screen in there. All right, we're good across the room. Now, let's go over here to the right of the status bar. This is called, we are in normal mode, okay? That first button says read mode. Do you see read mode? All right, click it so you can see what read mode looks like, okay? Because if you prefer to be in read mode so you can see more on your screen, that's all you do is put yourself in read mode. And when you do that, for example, this arrow on the right, it will take you through the pages. And then the arrow on the left will bring you back, okay? So no matter how many pages are in your document, you can page through it and read it. Now, let's look at the second button. You see that second button on the status bar?
Yeah.
What does it say?
Print layout.
All right, click it. The default is print layout mode. Now, print layout mode is going to show you more margins. It's going to show you top margin because you've got an inch top margin by default in Word. So those are the different modes. And now this other mode, look at that. What's it called?
Web
This is what it
layout.
looks like when I work with Blackboard, okay? Web layout mode is totally a different look. So again, you just have to know those buttons are there, but if you click on them, you know how to get back to the mode you want. And the mode we're going to stay in is going to be print layout, okay? Everybody good? Now the other button, the zoom is here. Do you see that zoom? So if the print's too small on the screen, what can you do? Hit that plus button, zoom it, right? So you can zoom your text to the size you want. And all it is that plus and minus button, all right? And you know, some people don't even know this, and they're sitting there not even be able to read their screen sometimes. And you just gotta zoom it. So you can zoom it to any size that you want. That is up to you, okay? All right, some other things. So to the right of your screen is the vertical scroll bar. Everyone see this vertical scroll bar on the right? Now it has the up arrow, and it has a down arrow, and it has, I call it the elevator. This bar is an elevator. Because if I click on it and I start scrolling, it'll tell me what? It'll tell me what page I'm on, okay? And I can get off on any page I want. You know, we work with lots of pages in here, 20 and 30 page documents. So I can easily scroll to a page because it'll always tell me what page I'm on. Now when you're scrolling with the scroll bar, the cursor does not move with you. The cursor stays in its original position. So once you scroll to where you want to be, then you've got to click to bring your cursor with you. Understand? All right. So just take your scroll bar and scroll them all the way up and just make sure your cursor, the blinking bar, you clicked at the very beginning of your document. Now that bottom arrow moves down a line at a time. That's all that bottom arrow will do is one line at a time, the up arrow, one line at a time. So it barely moves at all. Now, that was the status bar. At the very bottom of your screen, this is called our task bar. So the task bar shows you what is open. If you have Outlook open at your computer, it'll show you your webmail. If you have several Word documents, they're right here on the taskbar. If you point at your Word icon, does it show you the document that you're in? And if you have several documents, it will show every one of them. Understand? So that is your taskbar that shows you what you're using at your computer. And that's why it's called the taskbar. Now, another thing we're going to look at are defaults. And defaults are built in automatic. So Microsoft Word, Bill Gates and them decided that the default font should be Calibri. The reason, I'm going to give you the reason for that. And the font is size 11. And the reason is on-screen reading. That is called a sans serif font. It doesn't have any feet. So on-screen reading, if you're sending an email, you should do a Calibri font or Arial font, on-screen reading. But if you print a document for someone to read, it has to be a serif font, Times New Roman, size 12. But everyone anymore is doing on-screen reading, so they made it the default. Years ago, the default was Times New Roman, size 12. But they changed it because everyone's doing on-screen reading. Well, on-screen reading is fine in a sans serif font, size 11, but not if you're going to read a document. If you're going to print it, it has to be Times New Roman, size 12, okay? So that's why the default is Calibri. And all of you know that you can easily change this default. If you click the arrow right beside Calibri, that's where all your fonts are located. And if you hit T on your keyboard, it'll take you to the T's. Times New Roman. It'll take you quicker to the fonts that you want. Agree? Okay. See, I love it when my students are understanding and they like what they're hearing, you know. So that quickly takes you down to the T's that you could easily click on times New Roman. Now, beside the number 11, that's where the size of the font is that you can change to any size that you want, okay? So you see, by default, that is a default that is built in. Now, the other default that I don't like, but Microsoft Word did this too, and what we're going to do is click on a new sheet of paper so we can see the defaults. So we're going to click on that blank sheet of paper we set up there on our quick access toolbar, right? Click on it, and you're in a what? New document. New document. And when you go into a new document, it goes to all the defaults. Now I'm going to show you a couple of defaults that Microsoft Word built in, mainly because of online, and launch paragraph. If you launch paragraph, this default in here, the line spacing is not single. Do you see where it says line spacing? It's what? 1.08, okay? Now I'm going to show you an easy way to clear out the defaults in just a minute. An easy way to clear out both of those things. And notice though the spacing that says before and after. Where it says after, this means if you hit the enter key, it's going to come down 8-point spacing. So it gives you a larger space between lines when you hit enter. So that's a default built in, okay? Now, this is what I tell my students. We're just going to hit OK on this screen. That's showing you those two defaults. When I start a blank document and I want to clear out those defaults, I just click right here on no spacing. Do you see no spacing? Click it. Click no spacing. No spacing right there under styles. Okay? Now, launch paragraph. What are you back to? Single spacing and zero. Okay? And that is something that my students are always asking me about. I want to get rid of those easily. Now, we know that we can change the whole document manually and go through all the steps, but that just changes that for us. So let's just say okay and come back out of this screen. So that's just something you need to know. You need to know. Now, where are margins? And we're going to go where margins are so you can see that. Let's go to page layout, because layout would be margins. And let's click on margins. And let's go down to custom margins. Custom margins. And you can see where margins are top, left, bottom, right. All margins are 1 inch by default. Okay, 1 inch by default. And of course, this is where you can change your margin to what you want, and it will change it for the entire document. Because what does it say right here? And this is what people need to understand. When you change margins here, it says apply to what? Whole document. So it will change the whole document. Now, there are ways to set section breaks in a document and only change parts of it. But we won't go into that right now. We'll just hit cancel, because that's where your margins are. You just need to know that.
Marty,
Sir?
just for your information,
Yes.
the controls, everything works perfectly here, but the printers are not set to this, unfortunately. So you have to tell that to your students, because I've been working with IT, and the printers print a little higher on the bottom of the 1 inch, like 1.5 or something like that. And they happen with a lot of printers in campus. So you have to be aware of it.
I haven't had that happen with my printer, have you, Diane? But I will talk to you after class to see, but I haven't experienced that, so I will talk with you,
Yeah.
okay? And we'll see what's going on there. All right, now another default. I'm sure all of you know that Microsoft automatically, when you're typing, when it reaches the right margin, what does it automatically do? Wraps. So that's called word wrap. So if I'm typing on the screen, and I'll just type in junk here on the screen, but if I'm typing, it automatically wraps at that right margin. Now, you'll be surprised at the students that do not know that it wraps, and you have to really tell them. And the only time you need to hit enter is at the end of a paragraph, and so then you enter when you get to a paragraph, okay? But it wraps. That's called another default. It's just called word wrap. So let me just get rid of this junk that I just did to show you word wrap. Now, autocorrect. When we first got to the first Microsoft that changed what we call autocorrect, people thought their typing had improved, but it had not. Word was correcting your mistakes, and if you're not watching the screen, it's doing it just like that. And that was what was amazing about autocorrect. I could not believe the number of things it corrects, because we all make the same mistakes. And what I'm going to have you do now is type a word that we all type wrong sometimes, and just watch your screen and see what it will do to the word. So we're going to type T-E-H space. T-E-H space. What does it do?
Capitalize.
Changes it to D because it knows you're trying to type D. Capitalize it because it's at the beginning of a sentence. Agreed? There are over 400 and some of these in Microsoft Autocorrect. And so when we hit enter, let's type ADN space, because that's another common error, ADN, right? Corrects it, right? Now, those English professors that are in here, a lot of my students type this as one word, so we'll type it as one word and see what happens. A-L-O-T, space. What's it do?
Capitalize.
Changes it to two words. And so, it's making grammar corrections that, if people have got to get smart, if you're in English, just type it in Word. It'll fix a lot of your grammar errors for you without having to go through, someone else proofreading it. So a lot of these things are so wonderful to have. Now, today's date, and I hope it works on all the machines right. When we re-image it here, sometimes it does not. You never have to type the date. All you got to do is type the month and hit the space bar. So we're going to type January, capital January, space. And as soon as you hit space, it should say, do you want today's date? Then hit enter. Does it finish the date for you? So you never have to type today's date. It will do it for you. Agreed? So that's just another auto thing that is happening. The other thing that it will do is superscript. And people don't understand that it'll automatically superscript. So type the number 1, ST space, and it automatically will superscript the ST. Agreed? So those are things that just make it nice. That makes you look good. Microsoft can make you look real good. They can't. Is it working for you?
Jumping around.
Working for you over there? He says yes. Okay. Now, would you like to see where some of these corrections are? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to File, and we're going to go to Options. Okay? And in here, we're going to go down to Proofing. Proofing. You see Proofing on this screen? All right. Now, in Proofing, we're going to click on that button that says Autocorrect. Autocorrect options. Okay? And these are some options. For example, I do not like the default where it says it'll capitalize the first letter of the sentence for me. So I turn some defaults off that I don't like. And that is what you as a user need to do in an office. If you don't like the default, you turn it off. Now that's where it'll automatically capitalize the names of days. So if you forget to capitalize the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it'll automatically do it for you. Now scroll in this box, because first it just has symbols. But if you scroll in this box, you will see it starts with the word about. Okay? You see that? So this is where any of these words, if you type it like that, it automatically corrects it. And if you scroll all the way down to the end of this box, it goes all the way to Y-U-O-R. Okay? So that's how many autocorrects are in there, correcting your typing when you type, which is a great feature. It makes you very efficient. So we're just going to hit, now, this is another thing I need to remind you of. In your own office, if you have a word that you're always typing wrong, see how you must pass it.
Initiative.
Is it in the autocorrect? It's not in the auto. So you type it in that box. You type it in that box the wrong way and tell it the right way to replace it. It'll automatically replace it for you, because I've had to do that too with some words of mine. So you can add to your autocorrect, which is a great feature that you can add your own errors that you make. Okay, so we're just going to say cancel and come out of this screen and hit cancel again. Now I'm going to show you another problem that people do not realize, because you won't believe how many times students send me things. And if they've used all caps, people think that when you've used all caps and you're typing a document, that Word will automatically see a misspelled word if it's in all caps. But guess what the default is? The default is it ignores it. It ignores any spelling in all caps, and that's why that's a feature everyone should turn off. So what we're going to do is spell this word wrong. Are you ready? And you got to spell it wrong. Put your caps lock down. Put your caps lock down, and type O-F-F-I-C-A-I-L and enter. O-F-F-I-C-A-I-L. Now it is in all caps. It is spelled wrong, but Word does not what? Doesn't see it. Now, why they made that default to ignore all caps, I don't know. So you need to know as a user, where do I go to turn that feature off? Because I don't know if some of you noticed that some people had some all caps misspelled the other day.
Or happened in.
Margie,
That's what it is.
Okay, here we go.
Margie, why is this doing this?
Is it blinking at you? I do not know.
Okay.
I do not know. I am so sorry that it's blinking
That's
at you.
okay.
All right, let's go to File. Let's go to Options. File Options. And let's go back to where it says Proofing, because all of you need to know this. And where does, do you see ignore words in uppercase? Yes,
Do
yeah.
we need to write this down, or is
Yes,
that
I
all
got
on your
it.
page?
This first lecture here, I've got everything written down for you. On this first lecture, it's written down for you on this handout I'm going to give you.
If we're doing this under our names, it's doing it back in the office too, right?
Yes, should, Linda. Should affect what you're doing in your office.
Okay.
All right, let's go here and where it says ignore words in uppercase, take that check mark off. I've had students send me resumes for me to send out to employers, and their resume, if something's in all caps, it's spelled wrong, I am quickly sending it back to them going, hey, turn that feature off at your computer, because they're depending on what? They're depending on Word, and sometimes you have too much dependence on Word. So once you do that, just hit OK, and now what will it do to official?
It's on wrong.
Now it tells you, hey, word spelled wrong, right click, and you'll get the right spelling, okay? Just right click and enter. Are you good with that?
Yeah.
You good? So that's important to know. Now, the other thing about changing an option is when I bring up an attachment in my email, it brings it up in read mode. Well, you want to change, I changed mine. So probably a lot of you want to change that because I like it being brought up in normal mode. Okay, so I'm going to show you where to change that. Okay, when you open an email attachment, it automatically brings it up in the read mode. So let's go to File. Let's go again to File. And let's go to Options. And this one's located under General. General at the very top. And here at the bottom of this screen, it says Open Email Attachments and Other Uneditable Files in Reading View. You see that? Well, I don't like mine in Reading View. So that's where I turn off that default. So when I open an attachment, it comes up in normal view, as I prefer. Now, you may not, it's up to you. If you prefer the other way, that you just need to know. That's an option you can change, okay? So once you change that, that's going to go into effect at your computer also. Now, I'm going to go back down to the taskbar. Go down here to the taskbar, because this is where the documents are that you're working in, correct? And we want to open back up robots. So just click on robots. Because I'm going to show you some quick ways to move around in your document. Because these again are the baby steps of Word. So if I want to quickly get to the end of a document, and understand in Office we have documents that are pages long. To quickly get to the end of a document. Now on your keyboard, first locate this word, this button. It's over there to the right of backspace, and it's the button END. Does everyone see it? END. Now, we have to hold down Control End. And where does it go? End of document. So if you have a 30-page document, you're at the end quickly. To get to the beginning of a document, Control what? Home. Control Home. Okay? So those are things you definitely need to know. Some people scroll all day to get to the end of a document, so they're scrolling forever. Now, another way to get around in a document is Control G, which is go to. Control G. So if I hit Control G, it's going to ask me, what page do you want? I mean, you could want page 132, okay? And you just tell it the page number. So we're going to tell it we want to go to, do we have 3 pages in here? Just 2. Tell it page 2. Page 2, enter. And where is it? Page 2. And if you tell it page 1, enter, it's back on page 1. That's go to. Control G is go to. Okay? Control G. So we're going to close that screen. Close that out. Now, page up and page down. Page up and page down. Those, if you hit page down, it moves the screen full. Do you notice that? Page down, page up. So those do like screenfuls. So you have to know, well, how do I want to maneuver? What's the best method to get around, okay? Just so you know all those shortcuts. And I do have them written down on this handout for you. All right, this is another one we're going to do. Now, let's click right here at the very beginning of this first paragraph. You are in insert mode. That's the default word, insert mode. So as you type, everything just moves. Agree? As you type, it moves. So just type your name right there. Just now, if you're in all caps, remember if you're in all caps, it's going to capitalize. We're going to take that off. So all I'm explaining to you here is that that's insert mode, everything moves. Now, delete and backspace, because these are things my students sometimes do not understand which way it deletes. So, delete deletes to the right, agree? So for example, let's hit delete, it'll delete robotic, okay? Now which way will backspace delete?
That's it.
To the left. So backspace erases to the left. And just so you know which way those erase. Now, if you want to bring back what you did, all you gotta do is hit what?
Undo button.
Best friend, undo. Okay, you can undo and just get it back to its original way that we had it without our name or anything in it, right? Undo, get you out of trouble. All right, now, I want to teach you how to select text, because sometimes people don't know how to select text the easy way. One of the easiest way a student will select text, they click and drag, and they're dragging forever because they drag through too much. So to select a word, click inside commonplace. Just put your cursor there, commonplace. Click twice, selects a word. Agree? Click twice. Notice the mini toolbar pops up because it's thinking, well, hey, what do you want to do to this word? And it brings up a little miniature toolbar because you might want to do one of those things, right? So you could easily click on B for bold, puts it in bold. So clicking twice selects a word. Now, inside this paragraph, click 3 times. 1, 2, 3. What's it select? A paragraph. So 3 clicks selects a paragraph. Anything you've selected, just click anywhere on the screen and it deselects it, okay? Now, to select a sentence, because sometimes you just want to select a sentence and get rid of it. So, the very last sentence, anywhere in this last sentence, hold down the Control key and click. What have you selected? A sentence, okay? Control, click. And Jane says, wow. Thank you, Jane. Control click selects a sentence. Did it work for you?
Control what?
Click. Control click selects a sentence. Got it? Okay, good. Now, over here to the left of your document, this is what I call the selection bar. Now, to the left of your document, this selection bar, your mouse becomes an arrow, okay? So if you want to select a line, you click 1 time, it selects a line, okay? So if you want to select any line, you just select a line. Now, in this selection bar, if you click 3 times, it selects the entire document. 1, 2, 3. The entire document selected, okay? In the selection bar. Agreed? All right, and you can click out. Now, another way to select your entire document is Control A. Control A selects your entire document, okay? Everybody good? And then just click out. Now, I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to select. Because now, for example, if you watch me and I want to click and drag, do you have control over drag? No, it can go everywhere when you're dragging. So, dragging is not a good feature, clicking and dragging. Well, there's a function key called F8. And this was new in Microsoft 2010. This was a new feature. And what happens if you turn on this function, you're able to use the arrow keys to select. So I want you to click right before visual perception, that paragraph, visual perception, okay? Now the function keys are at the top of your keyboard, those old function keys. So hit F8. Now use your arrow key. Go down or go right, or you could back up. You could go back up. You see what you can do? The arrow keys with F8 with me? Everyone, F8. Now, you can hit escape and click out on your screen and get rid of F8 function of selection. Okay? Is that good? You used that before, got you? F8. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Kobe, for that last one.
It's been a little something.
Since you've been in class.
I'm trying to hide these things.
That's why we need to refresh.
Yeah, and you do these, because these new things are good for us to go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do too. All right, now we're going to go look at this backstage view of Word again to see where print preview is, okay? So we're going to go up here to File, and we're going to go down to Print. Click on Print. So this is Print Preview, okay? File Print is Print Preview. And what it is showing you, it is showing you the whole page of what your document looks like. And so that's what's good about print preview. And down here at the very bottom, you can arrow to page 2 and see what page 2 looks like, or any page, okay? So this is print preview. This is also where you tell it to print, of course. And this is also where you can tell it what you want to print. So you don't have to print all pages. If you want to only print the current page, you only want one page print, that's where you tell it, okay? And if you want to custom print, this is where you can tell it, for example, if you want it to start with page 5 and print through page 10, you just type 5-10, and it prints 5 through 10 only. So you don't have to print the whole document if you just want certain pages. Everyone knows this? Okay. So we will now hit the back, this is backstage view. We'll hit the back arrow to bring us back to our screen. What do you think? Good? All right, let's go up to that help button, that question mark, the question mark. Every program has help. So if you are in the office and you can't figure out how to do something, type it in help, and it'll give you all the instructions. Probably a lot of you don't know how to insert a watermark. Maybe not, because I'm going to do something you might not know. So we'll click on the question mark. It has to load it. And where the search box is, type watermark. You know, watermark is a washed out image that goes behind text. So type watermark and tell it to search. Hit enter and hit that search button. And this is many things about a watermark. So we're going to click on where it says insert or change a watermark. Okay? And what you can do, you might say, well, how can I remember all this? Well, all you have to do is send it where? Send these directions to the what? To the printer. Send your directions to the printer, right now, and then follow the directions on how to do a watermark. Because some people are going, I can't remember that, or I can't see that. Print it. Print your directions, and then you can do the watermark. Okay, with me? So anything you don't understand in a program, look it up, and it'll give you the directions on what to do. All right, so we good? So we're going to close out help, but everyone needs to know what help is. Okay? So now that was the very first part of Word. That's the information I'm going to be giving you as a handout. I'll give that to you, all those little things I've shared with you today. Now, what I'm trying to do now is figure out, okay, what else do you really need to know? So we're going to bring up, let's see. Well, we'll go here now to changing layouts. What we're going to do, if you see how this is a kind of a boring document as far as the setup of it, the looks of it. You know, it doesn't look very good. It's kind of boring. So Word can make it look good. So what we're going to do is go to design, and these are many different designs that you can come up with here. So if you hover over some of these aren't doing much in here, but you can, changing it. Let me see if I can, hold on just a minute. Do what? What'd you say, dear?
I said, can you read them?
Can you read them?
Yeah, the little title thing.
Well, see how it tells you right underneath it
Yeah.
what it is, lines, distinctive, and so forth? These are themes of Word. These are themes. And over here to the left side of your screen where it says themes, Office is the default theme, and a theme is where it puts in colors and where it puts in fonts automatically. Like you can go in here and like look at some of these, and it even changes the font as you hover over them. Like Berlin looks bad. I don't know what font that is, but it doesn't look good. But these are things that can change the actual appearance of your document. But now what we're going to do also is we're going to go back to the home ribbon. And out here in your selection bar, home ribbon, and out here in your selection bar, just select that main title. And you see where it says heading under styles on the ribbon. Do you see where it says heading 1? Okay. You could click heading 1 and just change the whole look of that title, right? Now, if you wanted the side headings, go down to visual perception. And if you wanted those to look different, for example, you could click heading 2. And again, even that first one, you can tell it title, and it will put a title on that first one, I'm sorry. Your title, actually, we should have clicked on title on the styles. You see in those kinds of different ways you can set up your document. So it will automatically can dress up your document using headings or using title. And if you drop that down, you can even see more, okay? So those are things you can do to dress up a document if you wanted to dress it up automatically without you having to do it yourself. Now, do you want to know how to use the Format Painter? Have you ever used that before, the Format Painter? Because it's a great feature too, okay? And you say all the time, and I know, Diane, it saves lots of time. So to show you how to do, why the Format Painter is so good, what we're going to do is we're going to select this side heading, Visual Perception, because that's the first side heading. And let's say that we have this 30-page document, we've got all these side headings, and we want them all to look the same. Are you with me? So what we're going to do is go make several formatting changes, and then we're going to go paint the rest. Okay? So what we'll do with visual perception, first thing we're going to do is go up here to the font, and we're going to make it really strange so it'll stand out. So we're going to choose Algerian, okay? Algerian. And we're going to make it a size 16. And we're going to put it in bold. Okay? Still with me, everyone? And we're going to underline it. We're just going to do all kinds of stuff. So you can see how long it takes you to format this one word, or these two words. Now let's go over and change its font color. So this A, see the font color button? The A with the font color. And let's change it to a, we'll do a green. Since it's in that blue already, we'll change it to a dark green. Okay? Now, do you see how many things I did to this? Now, wouldn't you hate to spend your day going through all the other side headings and doing that? But we can go paint them. All right, ready? Now, all you've got to do is click inside of Visual Perception. Just click inside of it with your mouse. Okay. Up here on the ribbon, there is a button, and it says what? Format Painter. Now, he's dangerous once you turn him on, just like a paintbrush in the office. So, turn him on, clicking twice. I'm sorry, I need to say, click that brush twice. And when your mouse comes back to the screen, he's a what?
Paintbrush.
He's a paintbrush. All right. Go down to Audio Perception and drag through it. What's it do? And then Tactile. What's it do? Okay? So everything you did to that one side heading, it'll now paint all the others. Like Diane says, she uses this a lot in the office, and Word users, they appreciate the Format Painter. They really do. I had someone that needed to superscript something in engineering. Amy called me one day, and she needed to superscript something that hadn't been superscript throughout this 30-page document. And she did it one time, then painted everything else. And so it really saves you time. Now, to turn off the painter, just clicking one time, and that turns the paintbrush off. You okay? We good? All right. Let's see. Let's click in the first paragraph. Students that type MLA research paper in all these English classes, and they have to indent the first paragraph of every paragraph. So how can you turn on first line indent? So if you're actually doing your research paper at the very beginning, you would turn on first line indent. So I'm just going to show you where that is, okay? So we're going to launch on the home ribbon, launch paragraph. And under special, you see special? Yeah. All right. You hit select first line. Select first line. Under special. And in the preview box, it shows you what it's doing to the paragraph. It's indenting the paragraph. Agree?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to say okay, come back to the screen, and automatically then this paragraph would be indented. Now, if you're typing a research paper, just go to the very end of that first paragraph with your cursor, because as you type a research paper and you hit the enter key, what's it automatically do? It will indent. So you don't have to tab every paragraph. It will indent for you, okay? You're not having to tab as you type. So that's just a good feature. All right.
Can you use Format Painter to go tab or indent the rest of it?
The first line indent is most efficient because you turn that on, and as you're typing, and when you get to the end of the paragraph, hit enter, it indents.
I mean, the rest of this is not indented.
Oh, you
use
could
Format-
select the whole thing.
Okay.
Select the whole thing and turn on first line indent if you have not indented it. Yes, ma'am. That would probably be the easiest. Okay. You always try to think what's most efficient and what's the most efficient method to use when you're using these features. Now, probably another thing I need to show you, because I haven't shown you this feature on home. On the home ribbon, there is a show hide button, code button. He looks like a paragraph symbol. Everyone see that? Okay. Click that, show hide. He's in the paragraph section. And this shows you codes in your document. So the space bar looks like a dot. When you hit the enter key, it looks like what? Paragraph symbol. And this way, when my students are first learning to type, for example, in keyboarding, I have to look at their screens and turn on the codes to make sure they're not what? Entering at the end of every line. Because I only will know that if I go show their codes. So I look for their codes to see what they're doing. But codes are important to see what's going on. Now you can turn codes back off. It's a toggle switch. It turns it on, it turns it off. I know. Like Linda goes, it's my favorite button. Because to find things in a document, to find what's wrong, you have to reveal it. And that's what helps you. That's what helps you. Okay. Trying to think. Okay. Would you like to know how to easily set tabs on the ruler? Would you like to know that? Okay. Let's do that. Let's click a blank document. We want a new blank document. New blank document. Okay. The easiest way, now by default, the tabs are every half inch. If you hit tab, it moves a half inch. Okay, by default. Now, once you start setting tabs on the ruler, all the defaults are gone. Once you start setting tabs. All right, so what we're going to do is learn how to set tabs. To the left of the ruler here is a button. To the extreme left of this ruler here, you're going to see a button. You can't hardly see my screen, but on your screen you can see it. It looks like an L, and it says what?
Left tab.
Left tab. Everyone see that button? All right, click it. Now what's it say? Center tab, upside down T, right? All right. Next button, right tab, backward L. Next button, decimal tab. And I'm going to show you how these tabs work.
See?
But you have to kind of hover below it, Gail,
Okay.
and it will eventually tell you what it is.
It is, it took a while.
It takes a while if you hover over it. Now, you click it again, that's called a bar tab. And then you have first line indent. So it keeps changing my codes here. And then you have hanging. And then you're back to left tab. Everybody with me? That button tells me what kind of tab I'm going to set on the ruler. All right. Now, we're going to set a left tab. So I want you to go over on the ruler, right below the number 1 with your mouse. Right below the number 1 and just click. And it sets a left tab. Agree? Okay. Now go back to that button that said left tab. Now click on it and change it to a center tab. Upside down T. Okay? Now, on the ruler, I want you to go under the number 3 and click. Right? Got a center tab. Alright. Now the reason I'm just doing these different tabs is just to show you what they'll do when we type so you can understand the difference in them. Now we're going to click again and we're going to get a right tab, but click again until you get the decimal tab. So I'm going to show you how it works. Got a decimal tab, upside down T with a dot. Now go over to 5.5 and click on the ruler, and there's a decimal tab. So on this ruler, you have set 3 tabs. Now, the most important thing you have to remember after you set a tab, you got to hit the tab key to get to the tab setting. So hit your tab key, and we're going to make this easy. We're going to type Microsoft. Now tab, and type Word. Now tab. Now this time when we get to that decimal tab, we're going to type a number that has decimals in it so you can see that every number you type lines up on the decimal. You will love it. You will love it. Okay. We're going to now use your keyboard. Use your numeric keypad over here. See your numeric keypad on the right of your keyboard? So just type this number. 1, 2, 3, decimal, 4, 5, 6. Got your number in? Now enter. Now tab. And let's type PowerPoint, which is something easy. Tab and type Microsoft. And tab. Now notice that first tab lines left. The middle tab is doing what? Centering. Now when I get to this decimal tab, we're going to type a number with a decimal. All right, let's type 2, 3, decimal, 7, 8, 9. Enter. It's a decimal tab. With me? It's a decimal to know, well, what's a left tab, what's a center tab, what's a right, what's it do? Well, that's what they do. So you can, now, I'm going to show you how to also will do dot leaders. Now, some of you know dot leaders, but some of you may not. Gail?
How do you change that tab? Let's say you got that first one as a left tab and you say, oh, you know, I really don't want that as a left tab, I want it as something else. How do you change it?
You can select this, select your text,
The whole thing?
and you can remove that L, that left tab. You can click on that left tab and drag it down to the white space. And at first it makes everything look crazy, right? Got rid of that left tab. What'd you say you wanted it to be?
Anything?
Well, let's say that
Something different.
Well, let's make it a right tab, for example, a right tab. Now just change your setting over there on the ruler to a right tab. And go back and set it at 1. And it'll make it a right tab. It'll line it back, you know. It looks crazy when you first delete the first tab, but then you set a new tab, it lines it back up. You see what we did, Gail? All right. Now we're going to do dot leaders for you, those of you that may not know dot leaders. So click on a blank screen again so we can do dot leaders, because dot leaders has to be done through the tab dialog box. All right, now click this button until it becomes a left tab. Click the button at the left of the ruler until it becomes a left tab. Everybody have a left tab? Yeah, click it. And then set it again at 1. Just set it at 1. Now change it to the right tab. The right tab is the backward L. Okay? And set that right tab at 5.5. With me? You're going to love this. Now, launch paragraph. Launch paragraph there on the home ribbon. Launch it. Now, go down to the bottom of the dialog box where it says tabs. Click tabs. Now, what it shows you here are the 2 tab settings. Do you see them? 1 and what? 5.5. You want dot leaders on that 5.5. Dot leaders on the 5.5. So click the 5.5, because that's where you want the dot leaders. Now, do you see where it says leaders? Okay, 1 is none, 2 is the dots, 3 is a dash, and 4 is an underline. Agree? All right, click on number 2 for dots. Got the dots? With me, Gail? With me, Jane?
I'm going to be.
Okay. You're going to be.
Because I put the wrong tab there.
It's okay. So did you select your dot leaders? Got the 2 for the dot for the leaders. All right. Now you're going to hit set, and then you're going to hit OK. Now back on your screen, hit tab, type Microsoft, tab, and type the number 10. And enter. Switch your dot leaders. That would be an advanced one. How'd it work? So if you tab, and of course keep typing, that right tab is great when you're having to line up numbers, and those numbers line up over there at that right margin, because that is a right align tab, and the dot leaders automatically go. Did it work for you?
It didn't for me.
No,
James
because I
has
never got to that
problems.
box.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Just launch it. And then launch. Tab, type Microsoft. There you go. There you go. How we doing?
Hang on a second.
We learning these? You don't want to change your grade? Yes, ma'am. The same thing worked in 2010. No changes. No changes in tabs. Jane, did it work for you?
Yes.
It worked for you? Okay. Now, do we need a break or anything, or do we continue? What do you want to do? Do you need a break? Do you need a break? Is everyone okay?
Let me check the tape.
Gail's checking the tape, and do you need to know about the clipboard and copy paste?